Hey guys, welcome to Star Wars on High. Thank you for stopping by. This is going to be a really exciting day. So, first of all, check out what showed up in the mail today. We have our Lego R2-D2. I don't know if I'll build this on the channel. Let me know if you guys want to see this. But I'm very excited to get started on that. But we also have the third episode of the High Republic show, which just came out like 2 minutes ago. I timed this hopefully perfect, so I'll react with it for the first time with you guys. And then it looks like J.J. Abrams made some comments on the sequel trilogy I might react to today as well. So without further ado, let's get in and watch the show. All right, let's get going.
Today on the High Republic Show, we're sitting down with Kevin Scott, Rob Simpson, and Ario Arendito to take a deep dive into the comic books of the High Republic. Take a closer look at the
fun fact about all three of those people, they've all interacted with me on some form of social media. Fun fact there for you guys.
Plus, I'll show you how we made this Markion Row helmet of my very own. Plant those Drengir roots of yours firmly into the floor because Star Wars, the High Republic Show, starts right now.
All right. I love the intro on this show. I think the visuals are... It's got that Art Deco, gold, just amazing vibe. Love it. Let's go.
What's going on out there, friends in internet land? It's me, your virtual Star Wars buddy, Christina Ariel. Back once again for your...
She watched the last video. Just gonna say she commented.
Bi-monthly dose of High Republic goodness, which is part of a balanced Star Wars diet. Eat your greens, kids, especially if they're Drengir. Is it still considered vegan if it's Drengir? These are the questions that keep me up at night. Anyway, since we last saw each other, a lot has gone down in the High Republic comics. So let's take a look at how the latest events fall under our ever-expanding timeline.
Okay, so I will say this time, I love when they do the timeline view. There will be spoilers for some of the comics, I assume, at this point. They've been out for a while now, so if you haven't read them yet, you know, just a heads up, we're probably needing spoilers.
The Jedi are trapped by Drengir tendrils on the planet Sedri Minor when they learn that Jedi Master Skiers willingly let the Drengir bond with his body. But why? Simple, my dear meat. To feed. Back at the Starlight Beacon, Emery and Vernestra are poking at the Hutt carcass with the Starlight's archivist, when suddenly it moves. Because it's infested with Drengir tendrils bursting out of its body. Suddenly, reports from across the frontier emerge that the Drengir are popping up all over the galaxy.
Yep.
Meanwhile, on the Gaze Electric, there's a gladiator-style brawl which Crix and Tromac must survive. Why? Because Tromac has information that Markion Row wants but won't give up. Crix, knowing there's an opportunity to save his own skin,
yeah, what I will call out here is there is a lot of important story details in the comics if you're not reading them. So I'm not saying they're required reading, but they actually do really connect to each other and the story at large. So
in turn, really impresses Markion Row. Now back on Sedri Minor, it looks as if Keeve, Avar, and the twins are about to become plant food. When all of a sudden, Skier hones the Force and his newfound bond with the Drengir to control the villainous plant.
Issue 4, it's one of the hard ones I actually own. I actually own that behind me on my shelf.
But wait, there's more. Just as the Jedi uprooted their attackers, a mysterious ship arrives filled with armored Rancors and Hutts. Star Wars. Avar Kriss calls for reinforcements as the Jedi battle with the Rancor and the Hutts. But the Starlight Beacon has problems of their own. The Drengir are taking root on the space station too. Great. Elsewhere on the junk moon of Quanxi, Markion Row and Crix are hunting down a lost artifact. But it won't be so easy for the Nile because Yoda, buckets of blood, and a whole fleet of Jedi starfighters are on their tail. And after an excruciating skirmish on Sedri,
I really
the Jedi recruit the locals to help fight off the Hutts and the Rancors. Soon they all realize the Drengir are a much larger threat and must join forces to fight together. But it may be too late. Thanks to a Jedi link with Skier, they've learned that while they may have won the battle, the Drengir have ceded the entire frontier and are ready for a reign of chaos. Where will the Drengir take root in next? How will the Jedi defeat this ever-growing evil? What does Yoda's famous recipe for baked goods actually taste like? We're just gonna have to wait a few more weeks to find out.
I'm waiting for them to release the cookbook.
Y'all. It's full of more questions than answers, and that's why I love it.
Okay.
For buckets of blood literally trying to finish a mission before his biscuits burn in the oven, to Skier momentarily breaking from the Drengir's hold on his mind, the High Republic comics have brought us exciting adventures and memorable characters. And speaking of memorable characters, I'm joined by memorable characters from all over the world. I would like to welcome our special guest, Kevin Scott from the UK, Ario Arendito from Indonesia, and from Oakland, Robert Simpson. So as we're discussing the High Republic comics today, I'd like to start with a couple of questions.
So I take it back, Rob Simpson has not interacted with me in any form of social media, so he's out. So until he tweets me I don't like. No, I'm just kidding.
Questions about
I'm
comic
covering up
creation.
his face too. I'm sorry,
Rob, as one of the editors that handles these sorts of things, about how long does it usually take to create a comic from inception to the hands of the public?
The overall planning for the High Republic's been going on for several years, so there's been general conversations about a lot of the storylines for much longer, but each individual issue from start to finish is probably about 3 months.
To follow that up, Kevin,
Okay,
much
3
like
months.
a movie, so much of comic creation starts with the script. So now that we're 5 issues into this run, how long does it take you to create the script as you get more comfortable with your understanding of who the characters are?
Well, it becomes easier as you work with the team as well. And I think it's not so much the team on the page, but it's also working with Ario now. So when we started, obviously, we'd only just start working together. So I was having to explain what's going on in my head, which is always a problem, and asking Ario to create it on the page. Now we've got a shorthand between us, so we know how each other thinks.
Some great panels, man, in the Marvel run. There really is.
So it's become easier to write as we go on, because not only are we getting to know the characters, we're getting to know the entire team.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that. Ario, how long does it usually take you to illustrate a comic panel such as one that features, I don't know, like a diseased hut exploding with Drangir?
They're great. I love them.
That's a very good question. I try to keep my pace like 1 pages a day.
Wait a second here.
Keeps the doctor away. Yeah.
Was that a Sith holocron back here? Woo!
Dr. Staying
My
away,
man.
'cause this stuff looks great.
Thank you so much.
How long have you been penciling?
Professionally, I started in 2012, but I've been drawing since I was 6 years old, so it's been a while.
I'm glad you kept at it because now we have these great works to look at. Now, Kevin, you've mentioned
they're
in
good.
prior interviews that it was the 70s Marvel Comics run that got you into Star Wars. So, as a storyteller, how do you feel that your personal
That's
history
awesome.
with Star Wars affects the way that you approach these stories, especially when you're being tasked with adding to the lore that you already love?
I think you think back to those moments where you turn a page and you're just presented with this incredible scene, and you want to recapture that moment when you're writing. And what I love about those early Marvel issues is that it was a time where all bets were off. They were just literally making stuff up all the time because all they had is one film and that was it. And with the High Republic, what we've got is a time period when actually, again, all bets are off. We don't really know what the High Republic era is like. So it's been really liberating in the similar kind of way that...
I think that's the biggest advantage of getting far away from the era we know and love, right? You're not bound. Of course, you're bound by standards and logic set up before, but you can be a lot more playful and a lot more free. So I imagine it's a lot easier space to work with. Just guess.
I can imagine it was in those earlier days that we can do anything because we haven't got to fit in between different stories.
There we go.
This is the story.
And Robert, for you, what is your personal Star Wars connection?
I can remember seeing the first movie in the movie theaters in '77 growing up and just being blown away by it. It's like nothing else I'd ever seen before. And as far as the way that intersected with my comics journey, I started at Marvel Comics when I was 16, back in 1982. And one of my very first jobs was erasing the extra pencil lines on the adaptation of Return of the Jedi. Al Williamson would bring the pages in, and as an intern,
that's
one of the
awesome.
things we had to do was clean up the pages for being photographed. So, it's just been a part of my life, my professional life, for as long as I can remember.
I love to hear full circle moments from all of you because as a fan myself, to be sitting in this spot is huge. And I think sometimes you wonder if people start to take it for granted after a while, but the excitement that you see from you guys when you talk about your Star Wars story is a part of why we love this so much and why we get to
it's like I tweeted the other day, people who work on Star Wars love Star Wars. And we just heard Rob's story there. Working for Marvel since 16 and literally working on Return of the Jedi comics, erasing pencil line, like the property means something to them. Even if they go directions that you guys don't like, or I don't like, they love the property. And I think we can lose sight of that. You know what I mean? So
Star Wars family. So thank you for sharing that with me. And Ario, it's going to keep coming back to the Drangir. It's who I am as a person. As an artist, what kind of direction did you receive when being asked to draw the evil adjacent sentient plant monster, the Drangir?
I love horror creatures, I love monsters, and especially in Star Wars, so I got the concept art for the Drangir, and I just have to make it scary and menacing in the pages, and that's what I like to do. Kevin knows that so well.
In
up the
issue
nose
4, we're
is
introduced
brutal.
to the Hutt cartel. Kevin, can you tell us a little about what we can expect from them moving forward?
How to answer that without explaining everything that happens? You get to see Hutts moving a lot, which is something I really wanted to do. And again, it comes back to those early moments. My first Star Wars movie in the cinema was Empire, but it was Return that blew me away, and it was all to do with Jabba's palace. It was just that moment where there are so many aliens, there are so many monsters, and they're so weird. And you've got this slug thing in the middle. But I always became obsessed with the idea that, you know, these are warlords, these are creatures that have massive power, and not just because they're big and bulky and intimidating, because they can be scary. We are seeing the beginning of a long history of the Hutts in the High Republic. This is literally only the pre-title sequence to what's going to happen with the Hutts.
Whoa.
We're going to see them, being active, being out there, and being in people's face.
Okay, that's news.
In their face in what way? Wink, wink, spoilers, huh?
I'm not going to say a word.
All right, keep it in the vault, it's fine. Now, Arya, one of the things that I truly loved, there's a panel with Avar Kriss in issue 1 where you see her shock and surprise when Yoda walks in the room. What's your process for creating that emotion?
Creating the right emotions into the visual is very important for me, and I try to put myself into the characters. Fortunately, Kevin gave me chances to draw.
I like his drawing of Avar.
Of her
I really like
being
his
in action,
yeah.
so
I really
we
like
get
the way
to
he has
see
Avar
how
looking.
great she is. What makes Keeve starstruck when she saw Avar Kriss. Basically, I just need to put myself into each characters with different emotion, role playing, if you can call that, yeah.
I really enjoyed that answer. Thank you very much. Robert, there are currently 2 High Republic comic runs, IDW's High Republic Adventures and Marvel's Star Wars The High Republic. So what goes into creating the continuity that makes these stories complementary and not competitors?
It's a lot of teamwork, it's a lot of constant conversation, and that's probably among the things that I enjoy most about working on this, is that we all pour in our ideas and we all pour in our understanding that once the idea starts moving, we have to keep a careful eye on it, make sure that we don't contradict one another.
Well,
But
that's
also,
good to hear.
As Kat was saying, it's a brand new playing field. So making sure that the stories don't contradict each other isn't as hard as you might imagine. It's a lot of teamwork, a lot of conversations, a lot of really
you're
fun
free.
surprises as we go on.
What's one character in the High Republic that makes you feel as excited as a new Star Wars fan falling in love for the first time? We're going to start with you, Cav.
Skier. Always Skier. His role in this was never going to be as big as it now is. Up to the day before I submitted the first issue, he wasn't Keeve's master. In fact, that first issue wasn't the first issue. I wrote an entirely different issue where Keeve has another master. And then I didn't like that one, so I threw that away and I started again and we came to the issue we have. But even then, they weren't master and Padawan. The moment that penny dropped, that was the moment where the High Republic comic really started to gel for me. And their journey forward from that point is the thing that gets me excited about this project day in, day out, because there are so many
that artwork right there. It has that kind of softness to it.
And they pretty much all come back to her quite paternal relationship with her master. And then obviously what happens to him afterwards.
Rob, what character are you most excited about in the High Republic?
I guess Keeve. I mean, there's so much of discovering a new world, discovering her new abilities and her new responsibilities. And, you know, you're describing that.
Are you just limited to the comics?
Seeing Avar walk in the room and just the idea of still being able to be surprised, still being able to...
There's a couple characters we haven't got yet that I'm excited to hear more about.
Around her. I find that exciting, and just watching her journey throughout the story.
I also love Keeve Trennis. I mean, she's just so much fun to explore, and it feels like I am exploring with her along the way.
Keeve was there in our first week of planning the High Republic at the ranch.
Okay.
She's been central to my part of the High Republic and my journey
cool.
it right from the beginning. When I was asked to write the Marvel series, I knew she had to be the core of it. And the great thing about Keeve is we know exactly where she's going.
Yeah.
We know where her story ends.
We do.
And so every moment in that comic and every moment in other appearances,
that's cool artwork right there,
is all leading to that point. And that's really exciting as a creator.
Yeah, it's kind of like Darth Vader.
It's very interesting because
Anakin.
When I draw Keeve, it feels like she's alive. I don't know how, but it feels like my hands is moving by itself and she has her own expression, and it's magical when I draw Keeve.
That's really powerful to hear how much you guys actually are invested in these characters and what they mean to you. And for me, I think that's absolutely beautiful, and what you all are creating is fantastic. So today we've been talking primarily about comics.
Yeah.
What would you say to someone that wanted to get into writing comic books about the process?
First of all, you have to make sure that you're having fun. That's the most important of all. And then you have to use
Be
your
good. No,
imagination as if you are living in that world. Because when you imagine that you are in that planet, you get to draw whatever you have in your mind. And I think that adds to the realism of the universe, especially in Star Wars comics, because we don't get to draw like New York City or Indonesia or any other real place. We draw imaginary places, and we have to make sure it looks real by putting yourself in that world, in that universe.
And even if you can't draw as a writer, just start sketching out and thinking about how pages could look. You can have 10 cliffhangers an issue because you always have that turn of the page. So think about those moments. Think about how you can stop people in their tracks.
That's interesting.
Definitely just get started. Feel comfortable just jumping in and doing it, and feel comfortable at failing. You're not going to be perfect right out the gate.
That's me on YouTube. I fail all the time.
Ashamed of,
I'm failing right now, actually.
Drawing or writing something and tossing it out, starting over. Show it to people, and if they like it or don't like it, take that feedback and run with it. So it's just a constant state of learning and growing.
Yeah.
To feel open to, I think.
Cool.
This has been so much fun.
Very
I want
cool.
to say thank you again to Kevin Scott, Robert Simpson, and Ario Anandito for joining us for the High Republic show. Thank you guys so much.
Cool.
The lightsaber has been called an elegant weapon.
When are we
for
getting
mere
like a
silver.
legacy lightsaber
And
or a
never
Hasbro?
before has that quote been more apt than when describing the exquisitely ornate hilts adorned by the Jedi of the High Republic.
Oh, this can be dope. I'm
The
excited.
green glow of Jedi Master Avar Kriss' saber is only accentuated by its elegant gold and silver crossguard on top of its long silver hilt. The emitter and end cap also have golden accents.
What's kind of interesting about these very ornate Jedi lightsabers is it doesn't really, I guess, typically in line with what you might think of a Jedi lightsaber, but it kind of points to a different era and maybe a different type of Jedi and a different kind of code they were running by. It's interesting to notice that. We definitely didn't see that in the later movies and later time in Star Wars.
The look of her beautiful and powerful saber. Keith Trennis also uses a
dope.
green
Yeah.
saber. However, both of her identical green hilts can combine to create a dual-bladed weapon. The powerful Wookiee Jedi Buriaga
That's a great
has
lightsaber
a
right there.
saber
I love that
befitting
one.
of his stature. The carved wooden hilt
Yeah, I'm
sports
all
a
about that.
leather-wrapped handle.
Give me a
blocked by
Buriaga
luxurious
sword
golden
saber, please.
crossguard, which gives way to his blue saber. Jedi Padawan Bell Zetifar's green
That's
saber.
Bell's looks a lot more like a kind of a standard lightsaber that you'd see. Kind of reminds me of Mace Windu's a little bit, honestly. Really like it though, black and gold. It's awesome.
Contains a golden cone-shaped emitter with a silver switch and hilt, and a black and golden end cap.
It's dope.
Another Padawan, Wreath Silas,
Ooh, I like wreaths,
also
too.
has a green lightsaber.
These are
But
way
this
cooler than the
one
ones we're getting.
has
Come
a
on, Disney,
green
hook us up.
crystal embedded in the hilt, surrounded by gold that extends from the emitter to the end cap.
That's awesome.
Lula Tali Sola has a more understated hilt.
That is pretty. Like I could see that being a new Jedi in today's era. So that one is a lot more
With a
familiar.
segmented silver and black grip, solid metal end cap, and blue blade. And although he may be small, Jedi Master Yoda's
Looks about the
tiny
same.
saber should not be underestimated. Ram Jamaram's yellow blade emits from a segmented hilt with
Looks kinda like
golden
Obi-Wan's.
accents that complement the saber
I'm a big
color.
fan of yellow.
Vernestra Rose saber
Yeah, that's
is
cool.
unique in that its purple blade can also double as a light whip,
That's
making
fun.
her a formidable foe when going against the Nihil or escaping from a jungle planet.
The
The
Drangir.
Trandoshan Jedi Master
Fantastic lightsaber. Just fantastic. Take my money right now.
Skier's blue lightsaber has a knuckle guard extending off of the top of his gold and
That's so
bronze
cool.
saber,
Come
as
on.
well as a red emitter button. Jedi Knight Orla
Oh, that's also
Janine's
dope. And hers
lightsaber
flips.
is unique. Not only are the blades bright white, but her dual-bladed
White's fantastic
lightsaber
lightsaber
hinges
color.
out in the middle, making it into a staff for battling foes.
Just awesome.
And speaking of unique sabers,
Oh, that's a great one too.
Stellan
Stellan.
Dios's blue lightsaber has a gilded crossguard, which hinges open to reveal two beams of blue light. Comac Vitus's blue saber
Oh, a little curve.
extends from a decorative golden
That's a cool
emitter
one.
down the back handle that curves into unique golden accented end cap. Tie Yorik's aggressive saber.
That's a fantastic lightsaber as well.
Spiked end cap.
Fantastic.
Which may be just as dangerous as the purple blade itself.
That's so cool.
For more information about your
Those are
favorite High
awesome.
Republic
Cool.
Jedi and lightsabers, make sure to check out StarWars.com/The High Republic.
But when are you
Welcome back.
selling me
this
one?
Wasn't here last time I saw you. I wonder what's under this elegant silk drape. It's Marky Rose helmet! Pew, 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 pew.
All right.
I'm gonna stare into the eye of this, and you guys can go watch a fan-made video about how this was made. While I just kind of
A fan-made
so
video?
Cool.
Okay. That's fun. Let's see.
Hey, my name is Gordon Tarpley. I am a prop builder and maker of things. I've had the opportunity to work on projects such as Jedi Temple Challenge.
Okay.
I made the 83 droid and performed the 83 droid. I've worked on
that's
the
cool.
R3A3 droid. It's turned up on various shows. When Star Wars The High Republic was first announced, there were so many neat designs that were from this new era. It's the height of the Jedi, so everything is so much newer and
Right.
more elegant. There's just so much more detail and it's much cleaner. And I just knew when I saw Marky and Rowe that I would really, really like to make a real
right.
version of his helmet.
When are you selling me his helmet?
Having a chance to
Where's
work
the
on
merch?
Marky and Rowe was pretty exciting because the fact that it's the main bad guy from the new era of Star Wars and being able to bring a character that people have
I
only
like
read
his
about
helmet.
or maybe seen in
I
comic
do.
books is very appealing process to me. This helmet took about 45, 50 hours. I started out with some concept artwork from Jeff Thomas, and I brought that into a program called ZBrush, which is a digital sculpting program. And
That's awesome.
I started blocking the shapes based on his drawings. He gave me very clean
That's incredibly-
front side
that's just
and
incredible.
rear drawings to use as reference. And basically 3D
Just
modeled
incredible.
all the parts, broke them up, and 3D printed everything, and then did a lot of finishing work to make it not look like a 3D printed part. The difference between making a new helmet that's never really been done before versus a replica of something else, I feel like the replicas take a lot longer and are much more difficult because it's very easy to
Sure.
niddle the details forever. Whereas with a new one, since I'm doing all the work, I don't have to worry about those
beholden.
things. I just try to make it look as much like the artwork as possible. So it's kind of up to me, so the process is faster. The one thing that was really tricky and nearly impossible to do practically was the Eye of the Storm.
Yeah.
If you were going to do this in film, they would probably use a special effect to
They would.
recreate this. So for this one, we did a light behind it, and there's some elements on the inside that cast some shadows onto the
Oh, okay. That's kind of a cool,
new
subtle.
eye lens portion to kind of cheat the effect a little bit. As a lifelong Star Wars fan, the fact that I've been able to work on so many Star Wars things and be involved at this level has been a wonderful experience for me, and I can't wait to work on more in the future.
That is why I love you. Oh, you're back. Sorry, I was just having a moment with the helmet. Here, let me put this someplace safe so I can finish the show less distracted than I am right now. Plus, it's really gonna help with scaring my dogs so they don't bark in the middle of the shoot because we're in my garage.
Oh, that's cool.
Showbiz, baby. Now it's time to answer your THRS questions. And with me this time is one of the many illustrators for the High Republic, artist Jeffrey Thomas. Hello, Jeffrey.
How are you doing?
I'm doing quite well. So here's the question I have for you.
Lightsabers behind him.
Isaac Brown asked, what was the challenge in creating the lightsaber designs of the High Republic
All right.
era and making them different from future eras?
That's a really good question. One of the biggest challenges was making sure that the lightsabers we designed could stand next to other lightsabers in the Star Wars saga, making sure that any High Republic lightsaber, when put up against Darth Maul or Luke Skywalker's, would still feel iconic to that certain character, but at the same time evoke the period of the High Republic. We treated the Jedis of this era like the Knights of the Round Table.
Right,
And
yeah.
so for Stellan, we referenced Excalibur as a starting
Yep.
point, and we knew that we wanted to incorporate crossguards.
I love it.
We made it so
Love the crossguards.
beams of the crossguard were actually held within the crossguard itself, so his hand or his body wouldn't come in contact with the crossguard blade. So when people see the
Dope.
lightsabers, they'll immediately know which era of Star Wars they came from
Yeah.
and who it belonged
Kind
to.
of Art
Thank you
Deco
so
looking, I
much,
guess.
Jeffrey.
That's awesome.
And now my assumptions about Stellan Saber have been proven true. It's both fun and functional. And if you have questions poking at your brain like Skier with his plant spear arm thingy, hit us up online using the hashtag THRS questions, and we might just answer your question during our next episode in July. However,
July.
Before we go, it's Higher Public Show exclusive reveals time.
All right, I'm here.
Next month, we'll be ready to dive into Kevin Scott's brand new novel, The Rising Storm, when it hits
Oh,
store
dude,
shelves on June
the Target
29th.
exclusive
But
cover I
today, we've got
pre-ordered
your
the minute I
very
saw it.
First look at the special edition cover from Target. The cover features
Oh, dude, get out of here. This is, mwah. I pre-ordered this baby second I saw it on Target. It looks like a Magic card. You know, like Magic the Gathering. Fantastic. Amazing.
Edifar, Elzar Mann, and Vera Stokes all holding their ignited sabers in the air, while Ember the Charhound looms above them on the rock. And speaking of Target, there's also an exclusive cover available for Justina Ireland's Out of the Shadows on July 27th.
Cool.
This Target exclusive features a beautiful cover of a particularly intimidating Nile baddie. But if you want even more Nile on your Out of the Shadows cover, you'll want to pick up your copy at Walmart with an exclusive cover featuring the Nile and Lorna D. For more on The Rising Storm and Out of the Shadows, check out StarWars.com.
I kind of like the other Out of the Shadows covers, the original.
Finally, we're very excited to announce an all-new Marvel miniseries coming this fall. Star Wars: The High Republic, Trail of Shadows. A detective story set in motion following the events of the Republic Fair, as seen in Kevin Scott's upcoming book, The Rising Storm. Trail of Shadows, written by Daniel Jose Older, centers on Jedi Emmerich Kaftor, who's tasked with investigating a strange mystery following the shocking events of the Republic Fair that has ties to the Jedi Order. Simultaneously, Chancellor Lena Soh enlists Cyan Holt, an in-demand, high-end private detective, to solve the same crime. Can either of them crack the case before more people die?
I'm here for
You'll
it.
just have to read it for yourself when Trail of Shadows hits store shelves
Cool.
this fall.
Dope.
And so ends another fun-filled episode of the Higher Public Show. We'll be back in July with another jam-packed episode. And as always, remember
Fun. Very cool. All right. Well, that wraps up this episode. Love the lightsaber reveal. Good discussion. Wave 2 reviews dropped today, and they've been very positive. I was going to make a review roundup, but with this coming out instead, obviously I figured this will just be a better, kind of talking point. Disney, please send me these books early so I can review them. I don't know where you guys are. But thank you guys for stopping by. What did you think? Let me know down below. Appreciate you guys watching it with me. We'll be back very soon. Until then, see you later.